Let's configure a switch with Telnet. In Packet Tracer, I'm going to be picking the 2960 Cisco Catalyst switch. We'll rename this to SW1. And in order to use Telnet, we'll bring up our laptop that we bought from Best Buy. And in the connections, we can use automatic connection type. But right now I'm going to teach you one thing. We got this thing called a console cable, and it's the blue one right beside the automatic connection. You plug it into this RS232, and you'll plug it into the console port of this switch. And now, normally, I would double click on this switch and go under CLI in order to start putting in my commands to configure the switch. However, right now, we're going to be using Telnet, and for this example, we're going to use a console cable with our laptop. So from our laptop, we'll go to the desktop thing up here, click on terminal. There's some tabs, you can customize this, but I'll just press OK. We don't need to change any of that right now. Press return to get started. So in switch, as we know, we type in enable to enable the switch to go into the privileged mode. We'll go into configure terminal. So did you notice something weird with the security of the switch? I'll give you a few moments to think about what was weird about what happened so far. Okay, so obviously the switch is brand new out of the box. But let's say it wasn't brand new out of the box, and I just came in with my laptop, I plugged a wire in, and I just got into the configure terminal mode. So what does that say about our switch? It's not very secure. Anybody in our office can go up to the switch and plug in their laptop and start configuring it. That's bad. So the first thing we want to do is go line console 0. See, this line console is where we can edit the console port that we just plugged the laptop into. So here we're going to set a password. We're going to set it to golden. And the next thing we're going to do is type in login. This login command right here basically is telling the switch that login has been enabled. And now it's going to start looking for this password called golden. See, if I don't type this in, it's going to set a password, but it's not going to ask me to log in. It's just going to have a password, and there isn't much point to it. So you have to type in login. Remember that. And just for the sake of this video, we'll go ahead and exec timeout to 30 minutes. I have a previous video explaining what this command does. I'll put in the link in the description below. Another one we're going to put in is logging synchronous, so our updates and statuses that the switch tells us does not interrupt our messages that we're typing. So I'll go ahead and exit right out of here. If I hit enter now, it's going to ask for a password on the laptop. And now if I type in golden, it's going to let me in. If I hit enable, it's going to let me in here. So the next thing we're going to do is configure Telnet, so we can bring in other computers that can connect to this switch from the network. See, right now, this laptop is operated by Jimmy. And Jimmy is on a chair in the server room right beside the switch. And he's got his laptop plugged in there, but he can't leave the server room now. Every time he wants to configure the switch, he's got to go into this room and plug his laptop into the switch. But what if he wants to sit down at his desk? So let's say his desk is way over here, and he's got this plugged into the switch with a copper straight through cable. Let's say this computer is like pretty far away, like the other side of the office. So he doesn't want to walk all the way to the server room just to configure the switch. So what he's going to do is on his laptop while he's here right now, he's going to enable Telnet so he can remote into the switch from his office. So how do we do that? We're going to type in config terminal to get into that configuration mode. And instead of going to the line console, we're going to go to line VTY, and we're going to select ports 0 to 15. And this basically means we're selecting all the ports that are on this switch from 0 to 15. This one's plugged into port 1, so it'll be affected and it'll be good to go. So here we'll type in password basketball. Type in login. That's it. That's all you gotta type. And since this is a VTY, not the console, we gotta type in this exec timeout again, the logging synchronous. So now, if we come over to, so now Jim can now unplug his laptop. He'll take his laptop back to his desk, and he'll put his laptop down on his desk. He's gonna log into his computer. We'll go into the terminal, no, not the terminal, sorry, the command prompt, and just type in Telnet, and we're going to type in the name of the switch. Oh, so we can't connect to it because the switch needs an IP address. So in order for the switch to get an IP address, we need to give it one. So we'll go back into the config terminal. We'll type in interface VLAN 1, and we'll type in the IP address 10.0.0.1. And then we'll put in a subnet mask. That might look weird to you if you're not familiar with IP addresses, but we'll talk about that later in a different video, separate just for IP addresses. But for now, we'll just type that in just like that. And then important to do is no shut down. So now it's up and running. So no shutdown just means we're not going to shut it down. That just means it's on. So I'll go back into here. We'll go telnet 10.0.0.1. And it is not working. Dun dun dun. And why is it not working? What are we missing? I think we could be putting in our own IP address on the computer. So here, oops, I put in, we'll put in 10.0.0.2, 255.255.255.0, and our default gateway, we'll set it to the switch, just like this. See, because before, the computer doesn't even know who it is. So we need to tell him who he is, what his address is, what network he belongs to, and now he can figure out where that switch is. So now let's try again. 10.0.0.1. Bam! Bam! See? Now we can get in. We'll put in the password, which is, if we type in golden, it's not going to work. So we got to type in basketball. See, now we're in. Now we can hit enable. No password set. I can't get in through here because I need to set that password. So now Jimmy forgot to set the password. So now he's got to walk all the way back to the server room, plug his console cable in. So the RS232, plug it into the console right there, open up his terminal. And here we are. So now we go config config tur. Okay, enable password pinball. And we're going to do service password encryption so that password's not in plain text. Now Jimmy's just going to unplug it again, bring his laptop back to his desk, hope he does it right this time, go into his computer, and here it is. What did I set the password to? Pinball? There you go. Now he can get into the switch. See, with Telnet, there was a little bit more security to it. It actually needed a password to get in there. See, now I can sit at my desk and I can connect to the switch from my desk, and it's awesome. So now there's one problem with Telnet, and it's a security problem. And even though it asked me for a password, and even though we needed to set an IP address and all that thing, one thing about Telnet is that it's not encrypted. So anything that I send across this line is all clear text, not encrypted. So if we had a hacker come in connected with a straight through cable for whatever reason. If we had a hacker sitting here, he could potentially just sit here and monitor all of this traffic going through, and Jimmy would have no idea. So Telnet is not good. And there is a solution to Telnet, and it's called SSH. And for that, that's going to be a whole new video. I'm going to see you guys in the next video coming up, and we'll talk more about that there. But I hope you gathered some valuable information about how to set up Telnet. I hope that you guys are able to set it up yourselves in Packet Tracer Labs. Packet Tracer is free on the Cisco website. And if you have any questions or you're having any problems, please put in the comments below and I'll do my best to reply to you as soon as possible. See you guys next time.